Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar here on Tuesday. My name is Kevin Vogel. I'm the Vice President of Virtualization and Cloud Computing. And today we're going to be talking about best practices for cloud and local backup. And it's a real pleasure. We have our great partners here at Carbonite who also just purchased DoubleTake, and you're going to hear about both products, how the synergy between the two has really made a very powerful alliance for your backup recovery, disaster recovery type of situation. We're lucky to have Val Ristov with us from Carbonite. Val, are you there?
I am.
You are? Great. And we also have Michael Gray, who's going to be covering the DoubleTake side of it. Mike, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon.
Perfect. Okay. We're just going to get started here. I just have a little housekeeping before we get started. First of all, on your Go to My Webinar application, you'll see a place where you can ask questions along the way. I'll be monitoring that question and answer box, asking both Val and Mike questions along the way if you have any. I will let you know that everyone here will be getting a copy of the presentation, so you don't have to worry about that. You'll also be sent a link for a playback just in case there's anyone at your company or people that you know that want to see this after we start this thing off. So just want to let you know that you're going to be receiving them. So with that, we'll kick it off. And this is just a quick agenda. I promise I'm going to give you a 5-minute introduction to Champion Solutions Group for those of you who aren't familiar with what we offer and how we play in this world. I'm also going to then hand it over to Val, who's going to talk about EVault, who they are, the backup technology architecture, their disaster recovery as a service. Mike's going to talk about DoubleTake and how that fits into the whole data management environment. And then at the end, we are going to open it up for questions and answers, just in case you have any along the way after Val and Mike, go through their slides. So with that, I'll kick it off. And for those of you who don't know Champion Solutions Group, we've been in business since 1979, and we've done the traditional things for many, many years, like data center services, everything from flash storage to networking to converged and hyper-converged architectures. And it's really one of the strengths that we do in there. Storage is a big part of what we do. But over the last 10 years or so, cloud and virtualization has played a much bigger role. We are a very big Office 365 partner. We do a lot in the public and private cloud. In fact, we're happen to be Microsoft's Cloud Partner of the Year. So when you want to talk about anything that has to do with cloud storage or cloud-based disaster recovery, which is what we're going to be covering today, cloud consulting, and obviously virtualization, we have a long history in doing that. Security is really now, as you can see in the center of our slide, it really is one of the core things that we do, everything from security awareness training that we're doing for companies, endpoint security, virus and zero-day malware, as you can see, firewall, all the different things in security and the security practice. And today we're going to really talk about data management. It's one of our core competencies. It's what we're really known for is our storage and our data management expertise. And I think you'll see that we brought a great partner with us today in both Carbonite and DoubleTake. And we've been with DoubleTake all the way back when it was used to called NSI software. So we're very, very familiar with both of these solutions. And then, of course, services and consulting. It's really now become a very, very big part of our business where we do everything from systems and software integration through data center moves and education and training, managed services, really soup to nuts when it comes to services and consulting. With that, I'm going to hand it off here to Val and let Val kick off who is EVault and how it can help you guys in your architecture. Val?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Val. I'm a sales engineer here at EVault Carbonite. And before I jump into EVault, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I actually, before I came to work for EVault, I was actually a customer of EVault and DoubleTake, believe it or not. And I was backing up 18 locations over 56K lines. This is going way back about 13, 14 years ago. And, here I am many years later working for a company that owns these both wonderful technologies. And I'm, very happy to be here. So, part of the reason for the story is, not only to show you how far back, EVault goes. EVault actually goes back to 1997, but also DoubleTake. DoubleTake, I believe, goes back to 1991. So both these technologies have been around for a long time. They've solved a lot of challenges. EVault as a company was built from the ground up to leverage disks. It's been a disk-to-disk based technology. It was never a tape-based technology. So a lot of the challenges that many companies face or many technologies face have been kind of solved from the inception of EVault. So next slide, please. So so EVault, again, has been around since 1997. We've not only done backup, but we also do recovery in the cloud within defined SLAs. Our SLAs are 1 hour, 24, and 48 hours. The data centers that the data goes to is also, the top-tier facilities. And we're able to essentially meet all sorts of compliance and regulatory guidelines that you may have. We do roughly 25,000 recoveries per month and manage 150 petabytes of data, in addition to having roughly 43,000 customers. And this is just customers on the EVault side, not the Carbonite or the DoubleTake side. Next slide,
Al,
please.
believe it or not, we have a question already. They want to know the difference between 1 hour, 24, and 48-hour recovery times, and is that by application or is that by environment?
Excellent question. So we actually we have a slide dedicated to that, but you can actually mix and match depending on the applications or servers that you have. So if you have one server that needs real-time, failover, we can do that. We also have a 24 and 48. I think it'll make more sense to hold that question till we get to the slide that addresses it, which will actually have a lot more detail in it. Probably answer more questions too. Next slide. Okay, so Carbonite bought us roughly about a year ago, and it's been a phenomenal experience. Carbonite understands backup and recovery. They've done, backup and recovery for a very long time. They were essentially bought us to move, to the enterprise world. Carbonite's been a phenomenal product for, small, desktop environments or laptops or, small business type, environments. But, they really wanted to move to the enterprise, and that's kind of why they bought EVault. And since I've been here, since we've been part of Carbonite, they've essentially delivered everything they've asked for, everything that we committed to as far as roadmap and technology. And there's only been improvements, phenomenal improvements since we've been a part of Carbonite. So next slide, please. We have extremely wide range of customers in every vertical that you can possibly think of. So most of them are highly regulated. I would say the majority of our customers are in the legal, healthcare, and banking are probably our top customers. But really, again, we have manufacturing and other fields as well. So we can provide all sorts of documentation, deliverables, and references for any sort of vertical that you may have or you may be interested in. So we also have partners such as SunGuard and IBM and Iron Mountain who also resell our technologies under the covers, right? They don't always say it's EVault, but we're also there under those partners. Next slide, please. So next we can jump on more slide. We're going to jump right into technology, and again, let's keep this as informal. Ask any questions you may have. But one of the biggest differentiators that EVault has from many backup technologies is its extreme wide range of operating system support and application support. We're actually one of the first disk-to-disk-based technologies for the IBM I or AS400. We're not only capable of protecting the IBM I, but we're also actually able to recover it in the cloud within a defined SLA. Same thing for AIX and again Linux and Windows. So we have really wide range of operating system support and application support. So from an application standpoint, we have SQL, Exchange, Oracle, and SharePoint. In those applications, we can also do granular level restores for. So we can, for example, pull out individual table within SQL or individual message within Exchange or contact or something like that. We can put it back into Exchange or back into a PST. And within SharePoint, again, we can also extract individual, documents and put them back where a customer may want. So, and we've also done this for a very long time. Again, back in the days, I was backing up Windows NT with Exchange 5.5 and also replicating that with DoubleTake. So, so the reason I say that is because we've done this for a very long time. We have very good integration with those applications, and the data itself is stored in a system-independent data format, which makes it forward and backward compatible with operating systems. So if I was still a customer, I would actually be able to recover my Windows NT data to Windows 2016 with the latest version of the agent and the latest version of the Vault, because again, we're built from the ground up to leverage disk. A lot of this stuff's been sorted out. You don't have to go to an old agent or old Vault or anything like that. You can literally just use the latest and greatest to recover your data, regardless of how old it is. Next slide, please. So there's really three components to our technology. There's the agents in the middle that we load on each one of the operating systems we're looking to protect. The agents do not require a reboot unless pending reboot is already needed. The agents also include, again, all the plugins that you saw on the previous slide. And the agents also include bare metal recovery, which allow you to recover the whole system in its entirety to completely dissimilar hardware. And the agents are managed by the central control or the portal on the left-hand side, which is a single pane of glass that allows, for multi-tenancy, allows multiple folks to access the data at the same time. And the agents talk to a Vault. Now, a Vault is a Windows server that's directly attached to some storage available to it. It doesn't have to actually be directly attached. It can be a network attached or iSCSI or something like that, but we like to see that storage directly attached to that represents the Vault. And then that Vault also replicates to another Vault offsite or even a third Vault offsite. This way there's multiple copies of your data at all times, and the agents are always aware of all the copies of your data or all the vaults. So if you have some sort of failure of a primary vault, the agents can go to the secondary and the third vault, or you can even restore from the secondary or third vault without any single point of failure. So next slide, please. Okay, so we kind of cover this a bit. The agents are very easy to install, completely wide range of operating system support. You never really have to do fulls and incrementals. It's a Delta technology, which we have a specific slide for, which will shorten your backup windows and make backup extremely quick and painless. Next slide. We have the central control or the portal. It actually comes in two flavors. The portal, again, is a single pane of glass that allows you to get the data, restore your data from anywhere. But we also have the central control, which is a fat client for times when the portal may not be available or for disaster recovery. So there's really two consoles that you can use to get to your data. They both do the same thing, but it's good to have options to get your data back. Next slide, please. And the Vault, again, the Vault is something that can be installed in your hardware if you've made an investment in hardware or even a virtual infrastructure, or it can be something that we provide in the form of a physical appliance. So if you have a if you'd like an appliance from us that has the hardware, the software, the support and maintenance built into it, then that's something we can also offer.
Val, I have another question that just came in. In the previous slide, you said you did deduplication. Do you make one copy and then incrementals forever, or do you make full copies every time you back up?
So from a restore perspective, it's considered, and I hear an echo, I'm not sure if anyone else does, but maybe one of the panelists may want to mute if you're, okay, I think that may be better. Okay, so yeah, so there's a specific slide that talks about the technology in more detail. I think that's the next slide. If you want to go to that slide, it'll make a lot more sense. I can cover it in more detail. So we do one full backup called the seed, which takes the data and typically compresses it 2-to-1. The compression happens at the source before it ever leaves each system. So the compression, encryption, everything happens on the front end. And then we do that seed or that first backup. And that first backup, by the way, doesn't have to happen over the internet. It can happen to a seeding device that we use. So if you don't have a lot of bandwidth, that's typically not a problem, because we can seed the data to a device, ship it, and to whoever you want, the vault or to the cloud, if you want to send the data to the cloud, if you feel comfortable with that. And we, from that point on, it's just deltas forever. Deltas meaning we wake up on a predefined schedule, scan the file system with our own patented, process called quick file scan. Then we dive into the blocks that changed. So think about it this way. If you have a file, the Word document, it's 10 megabytes in size, and you add one letter to it, an incremental backup will pick up that whole 10 megabytes. We're delta, so we're only going to pick up that one letter. So it'll be like 32K or less worth of data that's going to be sent across, compressed and sent across to the vault, and then the vault gets it and replicates it to the next vault. Now, there's no, because the delta process is extremely efficient, there's really no need to do any sort of front-end deduplication. We do the deduplication at the vault level. In other words, if you had written that letter A 10 times, that letter may be transmitted 10 times to the vault. The vault gets it, says, oh, I have this letter 10 times. I'm only going to store it once. I'm not going to, first of all, I'm not even going to replicate it, because I'm aware that it already exists. In the passive, because it already exists one time, I'm not going to send it, right? And then further, I'm going to drop that data off the disk. But we really don't take the time to calculate that on the front end, because it's a delta anyway. So our deltas are typically 2% daily rate of change, and traditional incremental process is 20% daily rate of change. So we're already extremely efficient enough. We don't need that extra overhead on the system to do it. Additionally, this will, drop, backup windows significantly, because all the backups are running concurrently. It's not a sequential process where one backup runs and then the next and then the next. It's all kind of running at the same time. So if you have any sort of challenge today with backup windows or anything like that, that's a thing of the past. We don't usually use a lot of bandwidth because of that delta processing that we talked about. Again, what that means is you typically do not have to upgrade your bandwidth to get the data across in a reasonable amount of time at night. And we're able to store many years of recoverable data on a very small disk footprint. Again, the additional seed will typically compress the data 2-to-1, and then after that, it's just 2%. So traditionally or normally, most customers have, their storage footprint on the back end is equivalent to the storage footprint that they start with. So if you start out with 10 terabytes, you're probably going to end up with 10 terabytes on the back end, but that 10 terabytes on the back end will have all your history, all your dailies, weeklies, monthlies, yearlies, quarterlies, whatever you end up having is going to be, probably a one-to-one relationship. In some cases, a lot less, because some data compresses a lot better than others, but on average, it's a 2-to-1 or 2% daily rate of change. We also have bandwidth throttling. We can throttle between the agent and the vault. We can also throttle in motion between the vaults. So again, if the data hits our data center, our data centers are all ISO, SSAE compliant, and we can provide documentation on all that. Also, when we do a restore, the data also comes back compressed. So if you have to restore a lot of data, it's typically that 2-to-1 compression as well in restore. So we get extremely quick restores just as well as we do the backups. Bare metal, we talked a little bit about this. Bare metal is part of our technology. It's not an additional product. It's not an additional backup that you have to run. A regular file level backup allows us to recover a whole system in its entirety to completely dissimilar hardware. So you can go physical to virtual, virtual to physical, virtual to virtual. We have customers that have done whole data center migrations with this because it allows us to go to completely dissimilar hardware. The bare metal also takes into account the application installed. If you have SQL Exchange or something like that, that would also come back in a working state. You don't have to do a multi-pass restore where you first restore the operating system and then you restore the application to single pass. And of course, we can do system state restores depending on what happened to the system, right? If just the registry got trashed or Active Directory or something like that, we can just restore those components versus having to do a bare metal recovery, which would also solve the challenge, but perhaps take a little longer. So we can restore pretty much at any level, file level, system state, bare metal, or application with granular level restore. Next slide. Okay, so we also have specific plugins for VMware and HyperV. So we have the hypervisor level. Obviously, bare metal from the previous slide will allow us to protect anything, whether it's a physical box or a virtual box or something running in the cloud. It doesn't matter because bare metal is able to protect it. Now, in addition to that, we also have the ability to back up at the hypervisor level. So we have specific plugins for VMware and HyperV that get loaded in the cluster and are able to, talk, for example, in vCenter, are able to talk to the vCenter and track where all the machines are and protect all the systems and still get that seed and delta type technology where we're extremely efficient, but we do integrate with the hypervisor which allows for extremely quick recoveries of either a home machine, a disk, or just a file. So we can actually recover files without recovering the whole machine or a disk. We can actually reach in to the file system and pull out whatever we need. Again, that kind of goes back to the excellent integration we have with the hypervisor. Next slide.
Val, there's just one question on this.
Sure.
If I wanted to recover or do a test into a cloud environment, will this work?
Yes. You can, you would actually have to, more than likely, you wouldn't do the VMware backup, right? Because the cloud environment, depending on the cloud you're going to, would probably not provide you a hypervisor to log into to do that recovery. So actually, more than likely, just do the agent within the guest, which would give you that bare metal recovery, which would then allow you to recover pretty much anywhere. We actually have customers that are thinking about it the other way. We have customers running in the cloud that are concerned that if the cloud goes down or somehow their system is compromised by hackers or a worm or something, a ransomware or something malicious, that they want to be able to get their data and recover it locally. So I actually hear more the other way around, like customers want to be sure that their data is protected, even though it's running in the cloud. So they install agents in the cloud and push their data somewhere else, like to our data center or perhaps to one of theirs, just to make sure they have a copy. Not only for that, but for archiving. Like a solution can be also used for long-term archiving of data. And that kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning. If I was still a customer of EVault, 14, 15 years later, I can still recover my data to the latest and greatest operating system. So that's great for our highly regulated customers. So was there another question, or did that answer the question?
It answered it for me, so I guess we'll take what you got. But no, that's good. I was just thinking his question was, if they wanted to run their test and development environment in the cloud, and for instance, they have a fix for an application, or they have, you know, a Microsoft update that they want to test before they do it in production, to be able to just run, do the recovery of a machine up in, let's say, Azure, run all the tests on it, make sure all the patches work before they do it in production.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you can restore the data anywhere. So we're hardware agnostic, we're application agnostic. You know, we do have specific plugins for specific applications, but generally we can protect anything. We're not tied to a specific hardware platform or you know, cloud vendor or application. So we just have to know what the intent is initially, so we can architect it properly, right? You know, we wouldn't, for example, do a VMware backup if you want to recover to the cloud, because while you may be able to recover files, you probably wouldn't be able to restore the whole machine, right, in the cloud. So we just have to architect it right, but I believe that, and I'll be happy to set up a separate call to kind of dive deeper into whoever asked that question, so we can make sure that it is a good fit, right? I want to, and also, you know, I'd be happy to show anyone a demo of the technology, to dive deeper into the bits and bytes and how it all works in more detail. So again, be happy to, you know, take a question offline, or you know, set up a, you know, some time aside to make sure it'll work.
Okay, so, you know, anyone that's out there that wants a live demo of EVault or DoubleTake, you know, just contact your champion representative, and we'll set up a time and make sure that, you know, you get a live demo with all the questions you could ever ask. I'll go to the next slide now.
Thank you. All right, so kind of talked a little bit about this. Pretty much any type of deployment you can think of, we can satisfy. We can load agents and go right to the cloud. We can load agents and hit a primary location, which then goes to a cloud, or we can, you know, have the agent which hits a primary location, which hits a secondary location, and then goes to the cloud, or even hits a third location. So you can have up to 3 copies of your data, and again, the agent's always fully aware of all those copies, meaning that if the primary location is down or the secondary location is down, then you'll still be able to recover your data. So the process of recovery is completely transparent. You just select the data you want. You don't even have to say, okay, I want to restore from the cloud, or I want to restore from the secondary or the primary location. You just hit restore, and wherever the data is, the agent, you know, will pull from those locations. Again, it will be aware if those data are down. It will be aware if they're storing a subset of data, because you don't have to store, you know, the full data at every site. For example, you can have 7 days locally and the rest in the cloud. So you can, you know, you don't really need to have a lot of hardware on site to do that. So, but the agent's fully aware, regardless of the deployment. And again, you can also use your hardware, right? It doesn't have to be appliances that we provide. It can be just hardware that you provide, or a VM you provide to act as a vault. So next slide. And we can go to the next slide. We're going to talk about our cloud disaster recovery. This should answer a lot of the questions that the first person, which was in regards to the recovery team, is a team dedicated to recovery. These are folks on the back end that do nothing but recoveries all day long. And the tiers, again, are 1 hour, 24, and 48. The 24 and the 48-hour tier are basically recoveries off the last good backup. So in the 24 and the 48-hour tier, if you needed to have a few servers in that tier, we would have to have a copy of your data to do that. We'd need a copy of your backup data in the cloud. So we need to load agents and point them to the cloud to have copies of that data to be able to recover it. The 1 hour application. So, for example, if you have a backup technology today that you've invested in, that you're absolutely happy with, but you don't really have recovery, any sort of recovery, or a team behind you that will do all the recovery testing every year, year over year, and document that whole process, and we can just sign you up for the CDR1 or the 1 hour recovery. So Next slide. This kind of talks a little bit again about the two offerings. The CDR1 is real-time replication, which means that you have you have a site-to-site VPN running from your site to our site. You also have Active Directory in our infrastructure and DNS. So basically, there's systems sitting in our infrastructure spinning, ready to take over, and any little change that happens at the source then also happens in our infrastructure. So any little table that gets updated, any file, folder, any little change is instantly replicated, and so you can literally fail over in a matter of minutes into our infrastructure. And a failback is just as easy. So for example, if you had a power outage, a planned power outage, or even a hurricane was coming, and you could literally fail over, wait for that hurricane to pass. If nothing happens, you can fail back just as easy. Again, power outage, you're running off of our system for a day or two, power comes back on, it replicates the changes back, and you can just fail back into your production environment very, very painlessly. So the 1 hour SLA again is happens like in a matter of minutes. It's a 1 hour, that's our dedicated SLA, but it really is instant failover. I mean, it's as quickly as it's basically in a matter of minutes until DNS finds its way. When you fail over, the DNS also fails over automatically, the internal DNS. So, for example, somebody was sitting at their desk and they're typing away, and there's some sort of outage, and you fail over. It's just literally till DNS finds its way is the amount of time it takes, which typically a few minutes, and you're working in our environment. The 24 and a 48-hour tier also include the I-Series or AS400. So if you have an I-Series, not many folks have the expertise or a second I-Series laying around, or perhaps they have it, but they don't really want to, have to do that test, right? The one big difference, the one great feature of the CDR is that as soon as you sign up as a customer, we do a full disaster recovery test end-to-end of the solution, and we also document that process. And you also, come into the environment and certify that everything's recovered as you expect. So, if you don't want to go through that process every year, you're absolutely required to. We can take that and do all that work for you, and we do that every year as part of the service. This way, if you ever have a disaster, you never have to, you never have to guess whether this is going to work, right? Because we do all the work on the back end. You just pick up the phone 24/7 and say, I had a disaster, send me up. And whether it's the CDR1, 24, or 48, we'll make those systems available to you. We'll externalize anything that needs to be externalized, like SSL VPN or site-to-site VPN, or IP, like external IP addresses, like for certain applications like Citrix or webmail or something like that. It would, pretty much build your network on our infrastructure. It's all part of the service, right? We make that data available to you and your users. It will also help, help you get your data back to your main site, right? We'll ship the data on those appliances we talked about earlier, called QSMs, the quick ship mobile devices. We'll export the data off those systems. We'll ship it to you, and then you can use our technology again, our bare metal recovery, to go to back to your environment, even if it's completely similar hardware. We can get you back up and working, and then we can fail back your data that's running in the cloud. We can fail you back into your production environment. So this process is again, I stressed in the beginning that we have a team of experts that's all they do 24/7. I mean, this stuff it may sound complex, but it's very cookie cutter in a sense, and yet it's also very custom to every customer, because every customer has different needs. So cookie cutter in the sense that we do this stuff all day long. It's nothing new. Very custom because there's typically a few hours of design calls that go into understanding your network, your applications, the order of which things have to be started, there's really a lot that goes into making sure that we set you up for success. But it's something that we do all day long. So yeah. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So I covered this a bit. Every recovery is thoroughly documented, and we can give you a sample deliverable. Interested, all the details, probably everything you ever need for audit or to know that the solution is going to be, at a time of disaster. We have in this, data protection cloud disaster recovery plan. And next slide. And we are recognized as a leader in the industry. So we have, we're up there with, interestingly enough, a lot of our folks that resell our technology, like the SunGuards and IBMs of the world. They use our technology as well under the covers to provide the same service, and we're up there right along with them. So again, tons of referenceable customers in your vertical, and would be happy to dive deeper into things. Right, if this is something that interests you, we have again tons of information. Again, can show you a demo of what the technology would look like. We can set up a proof of concept as well, kind of show you that it works as expected. So that's pretty much it. Any questions before we jump into the DoubleTake?
Val, right now there aren't any questions, but please, if you have questions for Val or anyone on the call, please type it in the question box. We haven't had any in the last couple of minutes here, but Val, if there are, I'll make sure at the end that we answer them for the person. Okay?
Thank you.
And with that, Michael Gray, if you'll take over now and talk a little bit about DoubleTake and how it fits into the Carbonite picture.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. And thank you, Val. Great job kind of walking through EVault, and it was a great discussion there. So I understand, I was kind of a late addition to the webinar, and I know that it's really kind of more focused around backup and best practices for the cloud. But we've been working with Champion as a partner for many, many years, and we thought that it would be a good idea just to spend a few minutes here at the tail end of this, just to kind of fill you in on what's new with Carbonite and DoubleTake, and just talk a little bit about that. So, and Kevin, if you'll flip slides there, thank you. So Val mentioned about a year ago, a little over a year ago, Carbonite acquired EVault, and that really squarely positioned Carbonite with disaster recovery, backup, cloud, and really put them, right in the enterprise and mid-market space for those solutions. So in February, on February 1st, they also acquired DoubleTake software, and as Kevin said, we've been around for about 25 years. We started out as a company called NSI, but what that really does is bring our high availability technology to Carbonite's portfolio. And again, I know the focus today is backup and DR, but we wanted to spend a few minutes just to talk a little bit about, if you do have a true need for high availability, and certainly for data migration as you work through a lot of the cloud scenarios with the Champion team, that we can be a great partner for you guys. So they acquired us in February, and we kind of bring to the table, many enterprise class customers globally, about 140 employees, and much like what Val said, Carbonite has quickly jumped onto investing in helping us meet our goals and, modernizing and virtualizing a lot of our technology. As an example, they immediately hired 12 product engineers in Indianapolis, where a lot of our development happens, to help develop some of the next phases of DoubleTake, particularly around cloud and virtualized solutions. So next slide, please. So most of the conversation today has kind of been on the left side of the screen around EVault. Over on the right-hand side, what DoubleTake brings, as we talked about, is really a mission-critical high availability, true high availability for mission-critical systems. If you have a need for continuous replication and a true need for one-click failover with RTOs in the minutes and recovery points in the mere seconds. High availability is a proven, DoubleTake availability is a proven technology that can help you. And one of the neat things, and one of the things that makes us very unique, is our ability to support physical, virtual, and cloud-based systems. It really doesn't matter to us in any flavor of that. We can go physical to virtual, cloud to ground, ground to virtual. It doesn't matter. We can really do any combination of that when it comes to protecting your data. And then we've taken that same technology and we've put it in a solution to help you migrate. Again, whether it's modernizing a data center or looking at one of your workloads and moving it into either private or public cloud and working with the champion team to help accomplish that with their services team, DoubleTake offers software solutions that will help you get there. Next slide. So again, just not to dominate a lot of the time here, because I know this was an add-on. Our core offerings are high availability. We talked a little bit about that, and migration into the cloud. And then we also have a solution called DoubleTake Move that helps you move workloads wherever you need them to go. And then we have a specialized version of that that helps you upgrade your SQL Server instances. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that today, again, given the time constraint. But if you do have an older version of SQL and you've been sort of reluctant to upgrade, I think there's like 8 or 9 supported versions out there today. We've taken our technology, our Move technology, and built a tool around that that'll help you do that upgrade into a newer version of SQL, moving the metadata and really orchestrating and automating a lot of that upgrade while your users are not impacted. So we can, I won't really spend too much time there, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that is a pretty specific application for our technology. Next slide, Kevin. So one of the things that makes us unique, and again, been around a long time, is the way we work is we are at the byte level, and we sit at the OS level, so we're agent-based, and that really gives us the ability to kind of do migrate and protect data anywhere. It doesn't matter where it is. And some of the features of our solution, I mentioned the anything-to-anything protection, but we can do real-time replication and failover. We have support for clusters. We do failover testing. Again, I mentioned very low RTO and RPO. We can auto-provision virtual machines. And then we're, encrypted. I think it's 256-bit encryption. And we really have a simple tool that makes these complex protections and migrations simple to manage with a console in a single unified solution. And that's really kind of the beauty of DoubleTake. Next slide. We really kind of talked a little bit about this, but again, physical, virtual cloud, doesn't matter. We do a lot of automation in our solution. And if you're looking for that continuous replication, or you need you have critical business systems that you want to migrate and you can't afford any downtime, again, we welcome the opportunity to work with you. Next slide. So again, our technology sort of is simple in the respect that we've taken the same integrated technology and we've productized it to be able to use it for different instances. But in all cases, we're talking about super low recovery times and RPOs. Again, I talked about the byte level protection. And then, again, we've been around a long time, and so we've got a customer care team that is second to none. We've gotten like the 98% sat rate. We're staffed 24/7, and we handle 90% of our calls and are answered in 30 seconds, and resolution on the first call. So if you do have any questions about the application of the solution when you purchase it, or you need some help, we always have a great team there to help support you. One of the neat things is we work with even the smallest client that has 1 or 2 servers that they're looking to protect, but we can also scale up into the global organizations and protect thousands and even migrate thousands of servers through our products. I think I saw a question there, Kevin. No?
Yeah, we did. In fact, we had a question that says, what are the costs for the services? Now, I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that, whether it's the professional services or the monthly costs. And I know that a lot of it depends upon how many machines, how much data, and things like that. But, you know, maybe at the end, Val or yourself might be able to give just round ball numbers on, you know, cost estimates or things like that.
Yeah, well, while we're there, let me handle that for DoubleTake, because we do have a different pricing model than EVault, where EVault is probably more based on the capacity that you're trying to protect. So, and number one, let me just first say that we do have a few different versions: Windows, Linux, Standard Edition, Data Center Edition. But let me just say that we have a perpetual license model that you buy to protect a source and a target. This is for DoubleTake availability, if you're looking for ongoing protection. And the list price of those range from, you know, $800 or $900 up to $4,000 or $5,000, depending on the edition. And then that's a perpetual license where you purchase it. You have 1 year of 24/7 support, and then you can also purchase additional renewals, or you can package it up front by working with the champion team to have, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 year support. We also offer DoubleTake availability in a metered usage model. And again, you would work through the champion team, and it can be, you know, less than $100 per month to protect a source and target together. So a total of like under $100 a month. If you are in a virtual scenario, it's less than $7,500. You have 2 VMs you're trying to protect. And you would want to, you know, either engage someone at Champion, and we would get together on the phone and help you scope that. But we have a pretty simple, straightforward pricing strategy, but I hope that gave you an idea on the ongoing protection. On the migration side of the house, super simple pricing strategy. We charge, MSRP is $295 per migration. We don't care what the size of it is. That is going to be for a source and target together. So think per migration. If you have a Windows or Linux source that you want to migrate to, you know, into the cloud or into another data center or within your data center, the MSRP is $295. And again, you can get actual pricing by working with the champion team. I hope that kind of helps. And that license for migration is a migration license that you can use for 60 days. You can use it over and over again. For those two, it's node locked by source and target. You have 60 days to do your migration, and you can do it as many times as you want if for some reason you weren't happy with it or something. But typically we find our clients usually do their migration in about less than 30 days. Okay? Hopefully that helps, and if there are more, if there are more questions, please let me know and I can help offline.
No, that's the only one I got right now.
Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, and Kevin, you may have to hit enter a few times on this one, but really what I wanted to show here is that we really, again, DoubleTake, we focus, unlike EVault, we're more a Linux and Windows-based solution, so we don't play in the iSeries or the Unix space. We're really geared toward x86. But you can see here, we can cover just about any use case that you can come up with. We are extremely strong when it comes to VMware to HyperV. What we really shine is when you have a heterogeneous or hybrid environment where you've got, you know, a couple physical servers, maybe a couple VMs, some cloud, and you're trying to do some combination of that. We can do that with one vendor, one solution. And then again, we can really kind of go, and this is just a partial list, but we can really do just about anything when it comes to the Windows and Linux space. Next slide. And just to kind of end on a note here, I know, you know, Kevin mentioned up front that Champion was Microsoft's Cloud Partner of the Year. This solution is a web-based front end. It's called DoubleTake Cloud Migration Center. And it's a webified front end that Champion's team, you know, would use to help assist you, or you could use it if you had one or two, you know, that you were trying to move, and they could sell you the DoubleTake Move licensing, and you could use this migration center. It's a web-based front end that orchestrates, simplifies migrating into the cloud. And it's extremely strong when it comes to going into Azure. It was actually built together with Microsoft originally, and now it can do Azure, it can do AWS, OpenStack, you can see it can do vCloud Director, but really it minimizes and streamlines the steps if you're looking to migrate into the cloud. There's actually no charge to use DoubleTake Cloud Migration Center. What you do, though, is you purchase DoubleTake Move licenses with Champion under the covers, and then this will help you pre-automate provisioning and discovery and things like that. So if you're going into Azure, it's as simple as you load in your source data, and then over on the right you would click and select which Azure data center or environment you're going into, and it completely does the rest of the work for you. Very simple to use, can be used by Champion and their services team, or if you had one or two, easy migrations, you may want to use it yourself. We'd be more than happy for any interested parties to do some demoing of this, and also to provide, some proof of concept, eval licenses, things like that, by working back through Kevin and the Champion team. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute. Next slide, and Kevin, I know we're short on time, so this is just a pictorial of kind of how it works. If you've got over on the left physical, virtual, and cloud systems, this is hosted by Carbonite now, not DoubleTake. You can see it's actually at migrate.doubletake.com now. And again, it's just a simple way, if you're looking at moving workloads into the cloud, that you can play with this and use this along with our licensing. And I think that is it. That's a little more on Cloud Migration Center. I kind of talked about what it does. Really leverages our technology and just makes the world a lot easier for you guys. So I am going to turn it back over to Kevin, and I just appreciate your time today. I didn't mean to hijack the call, but hopefully if you have needs for continuous protection or you're looking to do some migrations, we've worked with the Champion team for many years, and they are absolute experts at this, and we welcome the opportunity to work with you. Kevin?
Yeah, thanks, Mike, and I appreciate that. And now's the best time to ask whatever questions you might have of either Mike or Val or myself, if I can answer anything for you. I just want to let you know that you can call here to Champion 1-800-771-7000, and we can sit down and talk to you about your backup and disaster recovery needs and how the cloud might be a fit into that new environment that a lot of people are looking at. Carbonite and EVault are offering a 1-month free backup with a minimum of 1-year service contract, so it really is like getting that 13th month for absolutely free, and we've already had a lot of customers take advantage of that. We are going to be giving out an Echo Dot to one of the random people here that attended the webinar. You'll be hearing from us within the next couple of days if you're the winner, and if you haven't seen these things, they're pretty cool. I use them all the time. And Val, I don't know if you want to answer the question that talked about the cost of services when it comes to EVault, but I'm sure it is based around like number of hosts and amount of data and so on, correct?
It's actually based on the amount of terabytes that you're looking to protect. You get unlimited agents, plugins, vaults. You get unlimited everything. All you can need is just however many terabytes you're.
So whether it's iSeries or Windows or AIX, it doesn't matter?
Right. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the deployment, right? Is the data going to the cloud, or is the data going only on-premise? Because some people don't like the cloud. They want nothing to do with it, in which case we're still, a viable option because we can just sell you the software. You can run it in-house. And so there's a different cost for cloud versus on-premise. There's also a different cost for the recovery, the cloud-based disaster recovery that we talked about. There's a cost, and that's a little bit more complex. That does depend on how many processors, how many systems, if it's iSeries or AIX, site-to-site VPN, external IP addresses. That's a very custom type a cost. And of course, another factor of cost is the hardware, whether you want hardware from us or you want to provide the hardware. And we can also bundle that hardware into the monthly payments in many cases. So all those factors kind of determine the cost. I know it's probably a lot to digest, but we can get you an exact cost if we get at least the amount of data you're looking to protect, and however many terabytes, whether it's cloud and all of that. Additionally, our support is also 24/7, 365. We also have a 98% customer satisfaction rating because you get an engineer on the phone immediately. Nobody has to call you back or anything like that. So that's just one other thing I wanted to add there before we end.
Well, just so you know, call Champion, call your representative, and we'll be, following up from this webinar to see if you would like a price quote. So we'd be more than happy to give you an exact quote on the type of services that you're looking for. We don't have any additional questions here at this time, Val or Mike, but thank you very much for your time today. I think it was very educational. I know I learned a lot, so I hope our audience did also. Thanks for joining us today, and have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.